Hello, mentors. Welcome to our podcast series, Mentorships in Education, brought to you by Just Education at justeducationfirst.com. I am your host, Judith Epstein. I am very excited about the wide range of experts who have volunteered to give up their time and expertise. They will share their innovative ideas, their exciting perspectives, their rich resources, and their research with us. Please continue to delve into these topics on their websites and with your legal counsel, healthcare provider, and education professional. Our guests will have information that will be relevant to mentors supporting struggling students, parents, teachers, administrators, legal support, and health professionals. We will address all levels of education with issues that affect academic performance. Our goal is to open discussions and introduce a variety of approaches to those searching for information in a free venue. So mentors, let me introduce our guest for today. Welcome, mentors, to our podcast series, Mentorships in Education, sponsored by Just Education First. This is Judith Epstein, your host. We're going to continue our mini-series with a very special guest. Our mini-series this month has been on dyslexia, and our guest is going to continue talking about that from a very unique perspective. His name is Brendan Morrissey, and what I'm so excited about is that we're talking from Ireland, which it is so cool that we're able to sit here and see each other and talk to each other, and you're in Ireland. Brendan has done so many things involving dyslexia, related to dyslexia, that I can't go through the whole list, but I'm going to mention that he has a very personal connection to dyslexia. He has been called a serial entrepreneur, which is a very interesting title, and I'm going to let him go into some of that later. He received an award from Microsoft, and he is involved with many international aspects of dyslexia and promoting technology, I should say, that helps to support students who have dyslexia. So welcome so much, Brendan. I am thrilled to be able to welcome you to our podcast.
Hi, Judith. You probably won't understand a word I say because of the Irish accent, but here goes.
Oh, that's all right. I wear hearing aids, and the accent actually plays havoc with the hearing aids. So I might ask you to repeat something, but that's all right. Let me get started a little bit by your telling our mentors what your personal connection is to dyslexia, how you became involved in that.
I guess I'm dyslexic, so I left school at 15 because of my dyslexia and ADHD. I didn't understand what was going on in school. I used to get off the bus every day and walk home because the classroom didn't make any sense to me, and I just felt a bit stupid. And there was no support then. A long time ago, there was no support. And then I passed it on to my son. This usually happens. He was diagnosed when he was 6, and he's now 14, and there was no tech to help in between, I've always been looking for assistive tech, and there was nothing. There's a lot of companies that talk about dyslexia, but nobody has placed them all in the one space where everybody could connect. So I started building iDyslexic, I guess, about 2 years ago. He came to me one day and said he felt like he was left out because he was taken out of class every day. And to work with his special needs teacher, and it was in front of all his friends, and he just felt totally isolated, and he thought he was the only person in the world with dyslexia. So I said, "You're not, so I'll build you a social network and show you that you're not." So and we launched in December this year, and it's been tremendous. So we're assisting children all over the world now, every day.
So all right, so what is it that you launched? We'll talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so we launched iDyslexic. So it's the world's first social network. Yeah, the world's first social network, bespoke social network to assist children and adults living with dyslexia and ADHD. There's never been a social network before to connect everybody like this, and it's pretty amazing what we've achieved.
So how does it work? I mean, because iDyslexic, while it lets people know that it has to do something with the dyslexia, tell us a little bit about how it supports families and students who are, supporting someone who has dyslexia.
So it's like a LinkedIn or a Facebook for dyslexia, where it connects everybody. So you have your profile, you upload to your profile about your life. We have a secure classroom. So every 6 months, my wife and I used to get a meeting at our school for a few minutes, and it wasn't enough. They would say he's fine, and we knew he wasn't fine. So we built a secure classroom where we upload the IEP file. We invite in the caseworker and the teacher and our son. And then the school they upload the homework and activities and calendar every day. So we get an overview of what's happening in the school. So it makes everybody accountable. The caseworker, the teachers, us, everybody. So you see an improvement in grades, all of that. The most important feature on it is geometrics. So we have these little circles. So for my son, he can see in school who else has the app, or he can zoom out and he can see in our town, or he can see in our country. So this is the part that makes them feel like taking the stigma away and not alone, and where they can connect with other dyslexics around the world and have a chat. And then we have a main feed where dyslexic associations have all joined, and professionals from around the world, and they're posting daily content that's relevant to dyslexia. And it's for parents also, where they can connect with other parents, because my wife has to deal with me and our son in our house. She's now talking with other parents, so it's pretty amazing like that.
Now, it's very private, though. It's a kind of like a Facebook page, but everybody isn't reading everybody's information, right?
They can if they want. It's on the main feed, but in that secure portal, that's private. So that's between you, the caseworker, the teacher, and the student. So there's only 4 people allowed in there. That's where everything happens. But the rest of it is all open and it's all free. So anybody can come on and see posts. If they're interested in dyslexia and ADHD, we're putting everything into one space.
So, okay, just so I understand this, there's a component to the Facebook page where people can post and ask questions and share successes and talk about what's working and what's not working. But there's also a portion of it, a different page that each person can sign into the people who are working with them, their team can sign in together, and that's where private information is available. Is that right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's not a Facebook page, but it's a standalone app, so it's on the app stores. It's free to download.
Oh, okay.
So you can get it on iOS and on Android, and it's on tablet as well for children in schools who are not allowed to use mobiles. And it's bespoke, so it's the only bespoke social network.
Is it connected to through the iDyslexic page, or is it a separate app that you have?
It's a standalone. It's a standalone app. So we have our idyslexic.com, which is the website, and then from there you can download the apps for free.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah,
okay.
And the apps are free, but we charge a parent $25 a year to set up the secure classroom.
Oh, nothing.
Where they can connect everybody. It's a couple of cups of coffee, you know.
Right. It's nothing really today with the huge cost of so much of this stuff that's out there. That's very reasonable. There are so many other things that you're involved in. I'm really not sure which ones are related to school and not school. So I'm going to throw one of them out to you and let you either thumbs up, thumbs down. We can move on if you don't think it's connected. I tried to look some of them up, but I honestly am not savvy with some of these things. So what's the e-schools?
Okay, so we're across 23 companies now, and 5 are education. eSchools is the first of the education projects I got involved in. So I'm a partner there. We're one of the leading e-learning platforms in the UK. We have 1.3 million users. So we connect to schools. So everything from school website to governor portal to messaging to payment center, everything's space into the one space. So it's been running for 8 years. We have offices in York and Cambridge in the UK. And then iDyslexic is actually going to sit on top of eSchools shortly. We're going to push it out. So we haven't done that yet. So we have another company as well in the UK called Wand, WONDE.com. So Wand manages. All right, that's a big one to miss. So Wand manages the data in schools. So we're the fastest growing edtech company in Europe right now.
Can you spell it slowly for me and for our listeners?
Sure, it's WONDE, Wand. like magic wand.
WONDE.com?
.com, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So, it's okay. So we manage data in schools. So we manage the MIS in schools. We're in 13,000 schools in the UK. We're in 6,000 schools in Australia. We're onboarding right now. We manage data on 18 million customers. So we're in the educational space, like deeply in it. So
yes,
we're about to push iDyslexic out across all those schools. So we just wanted to get it working for the last 6 months and just prove the concept that if you wrap us like a bespoke social network around a medical condition, that it works. So we've proven that already.
And iDyslexic is idyslexic.com also?
Yes, that's it. Yeah, that's just a website, but the apps are the most important.
It's international, so schools all around the world have access to it. People all around the world have access to it.
Absolutely, we receive messages from children in Turkey, in Romania, in China, and they're all messaging us and say like, please assist, because our governments don't understand what dyslexia is. So it's kind of crazy that like Western Europe understands it, but like China doesn't yet even.
I was looking to see some of the countries that are addressing the issue of dyslexia, and I was not just surprised, I was horrified to see how many countries around the world don't have any recognition. For example, China, I couldn't find anything in China where they even recognize a diagnosis of dyslexia.
It's shocking, they're so far advanced in other fields, and then with this, like 1 in 10 students have it. Some of our experts are saying 1 in 7. So it's such a huge global problem that needs to be addressed. So we're trying to be the first platform to do that, and with Microsoft's help and with Google's help, actually, they're supporting us. So in January this year, Microsoft picked 8 companies in Europe to become part of their Microsoft AI for Good. So it's artificial intelligence that we're building into iDyslexic. So we're measuring the relationship between the caseworker, the teacher, the student, and the parent, so we can understand how to educate better. So that will happen in the next 6 months.
Okay, explain that a little bit. The relationship, you gave me 4 connections there. Why those 4, and what is it you're looking for?
So those 4 sit inside the secure portal of iDyslexic. So once we know how fast that relationship happens, then we can educate the child better, and we can, if the caseworker gets involved, the teachers getting involved, if we're posting X amount of times per day, if they're getting their homework every night, will it speed up their grades,
That's really interesting. Are you reaching out to any of the countries who do not recognize dyslexia at this point? Are you working with them to develop an understanding of dyslexia, and are they receptive to that if you are?
Absolutely. So we're starting to build in languages right now for global rollout, and we're building in gamification as well. So for children, when they do their homework, they're going to get points and little things pop up on the app. So, just to make them focus on it. So it'll be great.
Can you explain a little bit about your connection with Microsoft? I mentioned earlier that you received an award. I want to go back to some of the other programs you're working with, but you brought up Microsoft. So tell us a little bit about your connection with Microsoft, and what was this award that you won?
So we became part of their AI for Good in Europe. They picked 8 companies, and we were one of those in January. And they're very proactive in the dyslexic and assistive learning space. They manage 16 million customers every month on dyslexia.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, it's through their app, so it's pretty crazy. So we're chatting with them right now about rolling out iDyslexic as part of that solution.
So they're actually being very proactive in supporting dyslexia. Is there a connection that Microsoft has to dyslexia?
I think so. I think some of the higher up guys, their families are affected as well. Everybody's affected. Anybody you talk to, they say like my niece is dyslexic or my aunt's dyslexic, so it's just everybody's affected and nobody's fixing it yet. So we're trying to do our little bit here from Ireland to fix it.
Wow. What is Raspberries? I love the name. What is that?
Oh, that's a little company we have here in Ireland. So it's where we have books for like it's younger, like 2 to 5 year olds, where you take a picture of your child and we place them inside the book, and then the book gets sent to you. But then the child can focus on the book because they're actually in the story. So the story was created, the 3 books were created, and then yeah, as they read, they can see themselves. So they're super focused then on the books.
Is this available internationally, or is it just in Ireland at this point?
It's just here right now. We're about to push it out globally. So yeah, it's just here for now.
How has it been received by young kids?
Yeah,
I bet they're thrilled to see themselves.
Amazing. Yeah, we get amazing feedback from parents that they love it, and they also reordering. So I guess that's a good thing. So.
That is really neat. What is Quiz App?
We're building that right now. So just it's just like a trivia HQ. So it's just like a quiz for sports. So we have things in development all the time. Like we have teams in the Ukraine where we build our tech, and we're always building new tech. We're starting a new project for allergies next week as well. What we're actually doing is there's been I've kind of changed, I guess, over the last 2 years. So there's a purpose beyond profit with everything that we do. So we're moving into social impact tech. So Dyslexic is the first of them. We're moving into autism next because we've proven this model works where you wrap the social network around the medical condition. So we're going to do autism next to help families and children with autism. Then we're doing Alzheimer's, we're doing suicide prevention, we're doing teenage cancer, and we're doing apps for the homeless right now. So we have 6 projects that we're working on over the next 2 years.
Apps for the homeless, is that directed at adults? Are you targeting kids who are homeless? Homeless is a pretty broad term, so define that a little bit for me.
How's it going to work? So in Ireland, 10,000 people are homeless right now, and it's the fastest growing economy in Europe, and 3,000 are children. So it's incredulous that the government are just letting this happen. So we have 4 stages to the homeless apps. So we're getting people to donate their own phones. We're preloading the apps on the phones. We're going to hand them out to the charities, and then the charities will hand them to the homeless. And then we can geolocate everybody. Once a person has a phone, we know where they are. So we can push notify them and say, be here at 7 o'clock, there's a room for you, or be here at 5, there's some food for you tonight. And we're building in gifting also into the apps, where you can gift directly phone to phone. So you can gift somebody like a haircut or a tea or a bed, or so it just goes into their wallet. Yeah,
and that could make a big difference to some kids who are homeless, because getting a haircut might make the difference between whether they want to go to school or they don't want to go to school.
Exactly. And this eliminates all charity admin, because charity admin is a big problem right now. So this is just phone to phone. So every donation you make is 100% to the person.
I can understand where the term serial entrepreneur came up from. I'm not finished yet. I still have more things.
Oh, no.
So, I don't really know which one is which ones are applicable to the student population that our mentors are supporting. But what is Mission?
So Mission is the world's first outdoor adventure app. It's like Pokemon for adventures.
It's online? Something?
Not yet. Okay. In about 3 months' time. We just finished building it, so it's everybody's into fitness and adventure right now. The whole world is.
Will this support kids in learning in some way? Does it bring them to places they haven't been to, or?
All of that, but it gets them active. That's the idea, is to get them off the couch and off computer games and get them collecting missions every day and getting their points and all that, to get their badges for it. So. Yeah.
And can they play against someone else in another country? Is it individual? Is it?
They can create their own missions, and they can tag friends, and they can bring them on missions with them. So I could say to you, be here at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, we're going for a 5K run, and then you come with me. So it's all about building community and building adventure.
This is so beyond my pay grade. I don't really, I was in another world. My kids had to teach me how to turn on the computer, recently. When I started doing podcasting, they laughed at me. So there's so many things that you're doing that are just blowing me away. What is this data, Ed?
Well, okay. So we visualize data in augmented reality. So for companies like Huawei, for Johnson & Johnson, for Audi. So you can pick any data and we can visualize it in AR for you. So it's pretty complicated, this one. This is the heaviest one we do. So this is deep tech. So say it's for smart factories or smart retail, we can navigate you in AR to problems and then fix them in augmented reality.
Would this be something schools would use, or in some way? Or
We were talking about that for safety, actually, for where if something happened in the school, we could navigate them safely out of the school in augmented reality to show them the correct routes, you know. So we're chatting about that right now.
So it could be available at some point to
Absolutely.
communities.
Absolutely,
Okay.
yeah. But right now, it's a B2B solution for industry.
I've got a few more, but what's SafePal?
So we just launched actually last week. So this is it's a safety app, so it keeps everybody safe at work, which is pretty interesting. So we gamified safety. So if you come to work with me, I give you the app. We show you how you're going to be safe in my employment, and then you come back and you do a little test in front of me. So it's like, how do you place a ladder against the wall? And we'll show you 4 diagrams, and then you'll be safe. So, and then if there's a problem, you can take a photo. It goes to our CMS, and then we can activate it straight.
Would parents use this for their kids when their kids were out or
we could
drive or something?
Yeah, we're looking at all of those solutions right now. So all the tech that we're building, we're going to plug into different networks over the next couple of years.
Yeah, I can see what that would be, because I mean, so many of us as parents, our children are out with their friends for the day. We don't see them all day. We give them a phone, but they don't communicate with us, or they learn to drive and they're out for the evening, or they're starting to date. I can see this is something where a parent might find
That's a brilliant idea, Jude. We should do that together now. we'll build a business on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is Bear in the Woods Festival?
Oh, it's just a music festival we own in Ireland, so it's only a small little festival.
So it's not school related.
No.
All right, and I know that you just started an interaction with India on a new
on Mobstar.
That Mobstar.
Yeah, so Mobstar. It's a global talent search platform, and it's where we search for talent online on our apps. So I built it because I used to be a musician. I built it for music. So for people, instead of posting to the void of YouTube, they could actually upload on Mobstar and then post their content to mentors who could give them a career. But we somehow fell into the beauty pageant space. I was in India, I think, 4 years ago, and I did the search for Miss India. And the people who own Miss World were there, Julia Morley. And she approached me and asked me, would we do the search for Mr. World and Miss World? So it's now become the biggest beauty pageant app in the world. So
what did you used to do for music?
I used to be in a band on Geffen Records in Los Angeles.
What did you play?
I was a guitarist.
Oh, a guitar.
Yeah, okay. different life.
Common there, because I used to do drums.
Oh wow, really?
I even have a great set downstairs. I don't have time to do it anymore. But
were you in a band?
I was never in a band. No, when I played drums, I'm not going to date myself, but when I played drums, girls didn't play drums.
Right.
And I was a little bit teased, for being a drummist. So I gave it up for a while, and I recently, as an adult, had the nerve to go back and start it again.
You can get all your frustrations out on the drum.
Oh, you can, and it's just, I'll tell you something. No one wants to be around you when you're banging on those drums.
No, exactly. Get rid of everyone. I was a professional musician for 7-8 years.
Oh wow!
We formed a band here in Ireland when I was 19. And we signed the biggest deal in the world in 1991. We got $2 million advance off David Geffen.
Oh, is your son musically inclined at all?
Yeah. So music is a big part of dyslexia, and healing with the brain. So we're going into all that research is happening right now, and we're moving into neuroscience. So I got my brain mapped a month ago here in Ireland. So we can now visualize. We can actually you can see my dyslexia, you can see my ADHD and anxiety. So now that we can see it, we can treat it. So we're going to visualize that data in augmented reality, and then we'll set up courses, like 6-week courses for children who want to come in and see can they retrain their brain. But the more I'm learning about it, the more I don't want to. I like being unique,
It's interesting to hear you say that, because the person that I did a podcast with just before you on dyslexia was talking about the view of the brain and how brain of a typical person shows moderate activity, and the brain of a person who's dyslexic, when they're challenged with a problem or something,
Yep.
the level of activity becomes so much higher. And when I was in school, I had difficulty all through school. Ended up repeating a grade in elementary school. In high school, I was very fortunate that that's the same story you hear so many times, but a teacher got a hold of me and helped me. And I went on to, do quite well and get my master's and so forth. But it wasn't until I was an adult that I was diagnosed with ADHD. And all through school, my parents couldn't understand why I wasn't doing well, because all the testing I did showed that I, wasn't stupid, that I was, intelligent. And the teachers said to my parents, she's immature. When she matures, she'll be more focused. So it's interesting that, what today the perspective is most people accept the fact that there is a specific difference in the learning styles of one person as related to another. And the more we know about it, the more we're able to address those needs. So can you talk, I don't know how your son would feel about this, but could you talk a little bit about his experience, growing up and how you got involved in this?
So very frustrated, very standoffish, and everything's kind of changed since we launched the Cedars community here. We're showing, when they mapped the human genome, they figured out that attention deficit disorder is not that it's actually a super focus. So we're showing kids that if they super focus on what they love, they'll be the very best at it. So
That's an interesting term, a super focus.
Yes. So if you're making shoes, you're going to sell shoes to Gucci because you're going to be the very best shoe maker in the world. And that's what's happening right now. All the tech companies are hiring ADHD, dyslexia, because they want somebody who thinks completely different than just your normal thinking. So 50% of people who work at NASA are dyslexic for that reason. And we're showing kids this, it just blows their mind. They're like, oh my God, how could I work at NASA? I'm dyslexic. I'm supposed to be stupid. But that's the reason.
Explain to me the term super focus, because I've heard it before.
For me, that's how I can build so many tech companies, is because I'm super focused on tech. So it's kind of have like a racehorse where there's blinkers on, and it doesn't matter what's going on either side, or like what the research is or what anybody's talking about. You're just going to go and do it because you're super focused on it. And that's what I find. An
obsession, like a little OCD.
Probably. Maybe not that far, but yeah.
Okay, so talk to me about your son and his experience. When was he diagnosed, and how did you become educated in this so that you were able to support him? Because this might be something that people who are listening, particularly parents, might be interested in the process. And what the red flags were that had you suspect something.
Yeah, so you just very frustrated, that's the main thing, and feeling left out. And he was diagnosed when he was 6, so we kind of managed that the whole way up, but nothing has changed in tech to help, so we could never plug it into something to fix it. There's lots of platforms out there that talk about all these billionaires and all these really successful people who have dyslexia and have overcome it, and children couldn't care less. They're like, oh my God, that's amazing, congratulations, but how do I get through today? So that's what iDyslexic is for, is to connect them all and to have them in the one space. And for him, I think when he started seeing other people with it, he felt like he was part of a community.
How old was he when he was diagnosed?
6.
6.
Yeah.
Okay. So at the age of 6, when they said your son had dyslexia, you said that you were dyslexic, but were you, did you right away know what you needed to do for your son? What was your approach? What recommendations would you give to parents whose children, at 6, 7, or 8 are diagnosed with dyslexia?
Yes. So I knew straight away because I went through it, but the schools didn't have any idea, and they're still catching up, so like the caseworkers and teachers are still trying to learn about it. It was more of trying to educate them of like how to deal with it, because it's not, you don't put a child against the wall with like, there's lots of theories out there. You take everything you may, put them facing the wall. It's all absolutely rubbish. So, yeah, we knew how to manage it. So that's why we built the social network, because we know how to deal with it because it's of personal experience, you know. And do you know that like 70% of inmates have a learning disorder, are dyslexic or ADHD?
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, so early intervention is key. So if you get children early and they use their ADHD for their education, and they don't move to crime because they're going to use their brain for something,
Right.
they can really fix things. So we're talking to governments about this right now. So all about early intervention, getting them early and looking after them.
Do you work with young people who are incarcerated or adults who are incarcerated?
We were approached by the UK government last month, so we have meetings in the next couple of weeks where they want us to put a version of iDyslexic in school, into prisons. So we're going to build that out right now.
That's interesting. I used to work teach in a DYS center, and I've always worked with kids who were struggling with the law in one capacity or another and couldn't go into public school. Yeah. So I worked in alternative schools, and often with the courts, and we didn't know very much then about how to get them to start thinking differently. You know, they knew they were making unproductive decisions, but it was hard to get them to change their thinking. So It's interesting that you're saying that a lot of it has to do with an alternative learning style, because I don't think we thought very much about that, you know.
No, they haven't, and they just feel completely left out and not part of the school community. So they're going to turn to something else, you know, and then that's where they congregate to do this, you know. So so we're trying to get in and have early access, you know.
All right, so let me just go back for a minute. Your son is 5 or 6 years old. You find out that he has dyslexia. What were some of the first things that you did with the school to support his learning in the school? I know some of this led to some of your amazing creations, but I'm just wondering, what, as your son was going through the school system, what did you see the needs were, and how did you incorporate those needs, intersect those needs with the school?
Yeah, so here in Ireland, you get extra points for your assessment. So you get extra points for your grades. So he was working through that the whole way up. He learns through Irish, which is probably another obstacle. But we sent both our kids to Irish school, so they have they're bilingual. So you see, it's just it's very difficult to manage, you know, because if the caseworker, it's all to do with the caseworker. If the caseworker isn't very good, then your child kind of slips through the cracks, you know. And there's nothing you can do because you're not connected. You just have these meetings every couple of months.
Was the school knowledgeable when your son was diagnosed?
Not very, no, not very. And we're finding that from different schools here, even at the moment. Some people are very knowledgeable, some are not at all. So that's like you, with, you know, a teacher finding you and giving you a hand. You know, that's all you need, is somebody to just give you a hand. But right now, he's got some amazing teachers that are helping him along the way.
Did you have, here we call them individual education, you know, learning plans, IEP, where kids who are diagnosed with one of the alphabet soups gets a special plan. Do you have that? Yeah,
so the parent uploads the IEP into the classroom. So we have the IEP here, so we upload it into the classroom. Then it gives the school fast access. So it's all about saving time for the school as well, because schools are so stretched. They can't do anything more than they're doing right now. So we're putting all the onus on the parent. So the parent sets up the classroom, they invite in the teacher and the caseworker, they upload the IEP, they invite in the child, and then they manage the homework and calendar and activities. So everything that we missed out the last couple of years because we had no digital record of what was going on, now we can see what's going on, because he'd come home with like no homework every night, but we always knew he had a little bit of homework. So now we can actually see it, you know.
Good try.
yeah. You're screwed. Yeah. But you know, it just helps them to focus a little bit, and then it's there's a digital record of it, so you have to do it and focus on it.
Okay, so if you were to give a recommendation to a parent whose child, at whatever age, was just diagnosed with dyslexia, what would be the first thing that you would suggest that they do? Or the first couple of things that you would suggest that they do?
So download the iDyslexic app.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Yeah. And join the community, you know, just like you can chat with, like, there's professionals who are amazing people all over the world. And they can give you, like, free advice. There's dyslexic associations are on. They're posting content. We put you directly in touch with them. It's before you would be like, you'd be looking on Facebook or you'd be looking on different networks to try and connect with people. But now they're all in the one space. So it's very easy, just like one little app and you got connected to everybody. So yeah, become part of the community first and learn about the conditions. Read all our feeds, you know. We're posting every day about what's going on and what's new in the press or if there's any updates.
So on iDyslexia, the letter I, dyslexia.com.
No, Dyslexic.
Okay,
yeah.
iDyslexic.com. They could go there, and you have a library of information. Is that how
yes.
you present it when you click on different things?
Yeah, on iDyslexic.com, that's just a website. So that's kind of a holding page for the app. So down the bottom, they'll see like download now. So that'll bring them to the store. They'll download the app, sign in, create a profile. And then on the main feed, you'll see everything that's happening in dyslexia around the world. We'll be posting, our team, professionals are posting as well. And then you just make friends, you connect with them. And then we verify teachers, we verify professionals. So if children come on and they're looking to connect with professionals, they'll have a little green tick beside their profile, like on Twitter.
So, do you do any testing for this, or is that independent? Do you? I seem to remember something about testing.
No, we don't test. So
you don't do any testing.
No, so we connect parents with dyslexic associations, and they test.
You do, okay.
Yeah,
all right,
so we're just a platform to connect everybody.
So I'm a parent. I go to idyslexic.com.
Yes.
Because I want to learn more about dyslexia.
Yep.
My child was just diagnosed, and although I've heard the word, I'm not knowledgeable. What are the kinds of things I'm going to find there that will help me? Will I find names of specialists? Will I find articles that have been written by people? What are the tabs there that I'm going to be looking for?
Yeah, so all of that. So I don't know if you've used Instagram before, but it's just like an Instagram feed where all the feeds of what's happening around the world are posted. So and they're posted by professionals and by the Dyslexic Association and by us. So when you go on, everything's there for you. You don't have to go searching the internet about what's happening.
No, I did do it, but I wanted to give you a chance to explain. That's why I was asking you.
And then just connect and make friends. It's all about building a community, and it's all about taking the stigma away, and it's all about talking about it and opening it up. You know, we're seeing that children are opening up on iDyslexic, and they wouldn't open up on Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat, and it's because it's a bespoke community where everybody that loves them is in one space. So.
If people want to get in touch with you and ask you some questions,
yes,
can they do that through iDyslexic?
Yes, hello at idyslexic.com.
Hello. Okay. Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Down. Hello at idyslexic.com. And that they can pose a question. I want to be able to tell everybody we're going to have that on the recording when we post it. So
yeah.
They want to be able to get in touch with you. They
can and you know, on the app as well, they can just find me and just add me as a friend. And I spend an hour or two every day just talking to people around the world.
Really?
And, yeah. So
like this, like we're doing, or just
just more advice, texting back through iDyslexic through the apps, and just showing them who they should be talking to.
Is there anything you're doing that I did not touch on that you would like to share with our audience? Anything that I missed?
No, there's other companies. Well, it doesn't matter. They're not really relevant.
Well, I know, but I know there's something stand-up charity. Does that have anything to do with the kids, the parents, or what is that?
So the stand-up charity one is that's the homeless apps. So
that's the homeless. Okay, and what's ProTunes?
So this is our company in Los Angeles. So we run the sync music search for Omnicom, the biggest ad agency in the world, and we run that around the world. you want me to explain what it is?
And you mentioned wand.
Yeah, so we spoke about wands.
Okay, but I'd like you to talk a little bit more about it, because I'm not sure that we got into it very much.
Okay, so wand is where we manage data in schools. So we're like an edtech marketplace. So we manage data in 13,000 schools in the United Kingdom. We're onboarding 6,000 schools in Australia right now. And we have a couple of hundred companies use us to move into schools. So it's an edtech marketplace.
What does community district school want to incorporate that in their, make it available to teachers in some way? Is it supportive of classroom teaching?
Not in the US right now.
No.
There's other companies that do it over there, but it's kind of tech is all a bit of a land grab. You need to get out there and get everything, and
right.
So we own the UK now, so nobody else can come into the market, which is nice to know.
My head is spinning. There's just so many things you're doing, and I hope we have another opportunity to be able to speak with you and see how some of these things are progressing, because they're so very exciting.
It's just the ADHD, I can't sit still.
ADHD is something I can relate to. I assume that some students who are dyslexic have comorbid diagnoses, and I know that ADHD is one of the accompanying diagnoses with many of these kids. So they struggle from many corners, and I think what you're doing is exciting and supportive of so many kids.
I still struggle. It's like I was in a big meeting last month with some top people around Europe, and I completely froze at the meeting. I couldn't tell them what I do when they got to me, and I'm probably I'm more successful than all of them in the room, But it's just when they got to me, I just couldn't. And that's the stigma that we're trying to take away. I don't want children to grow up with this.
I have to just interject here that I'm retired, and I started these podcasts for fun because I'm used to being active. I'm not someone's going to sit home and eat bonbons and decide where we're going to play bridge tomorrow.
I get that.
It's not my thing. So I had to do something, and so I started the podcast, and I'm just so thrilled because so many people have reached out and have been willing to give their time, volunteer like you are doing. So much time. We had a talk prior to this. You gave me almost an hour then. We've been emailing back and forth. You've given so much time now. And I have so many people that I started doing one podcast a month. I'm up to 3 a month. I could do 4 or 5 a month, and I'm so grateful because your information is going to be made available free in a library of resources for people who are looking for information on dyslexia. And I thank you so much for
you're very welcome
to be here. Let me just tell everyone that our podcast today, Mentorships in Education, is sponsored by justeducationfirst.com. We hope that you will go to Just Education First and try and connect with us. I'd love to hear some feedback from you. I have gotten some great feedback from people already, and suggestions of anyone that you would like to hear from on any topics that you feel we have not covered at this point. We have some interesting topics coming up on trauma, on ADHD, on girls, a very unique group of population to work with, and we have some interesting people who are going to be talking about that as well. Brendan Morrissey, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you, mentors, for being with us today. If you found this podcast of value, please visit justeducationfirst.com to subscribe to our blog and Mentorship and Education podcast so that you may continue the exploration with us. Our goal is to provide a free treasury of information for our listeners so they can become acquainted with the amazing resources that we have available to us. We want to thank all of our guests for giving their time and sharing their wealth of information with us. Please also visit their websites and explore more of their resources to further your pursuit of the topic. Hope to hear from you at justeducationfirst.com. Have a good week, and thank you.